What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass?
It seems we would never get enough of Rick Ross and 50 because the pair keeps going back and forth with jabs. On an episode of $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, 50 threw shade at Rick Ross by claiming that the biggest boss is living a fake life. This response came after co-host Gilly DeKing asked the rapper about his beef with Rick Ross, which has been going on for years now. 50 was quick to reveal that Officer Ricky has nothing else working for him outside of mentioning him. He continued by saying that Rick Ross's rich lifestyle is just a presentation and not a real reflection of his wealth.
You see that big white elephant? That property he lives at? It's just a part of presentation.
He referenced Rick Ross's mansion, which is dubbed the Promised Land, in Fayetteville, Georgia, and said that Rick Ross doesn't make enough money to maintain the property because he depends on nightclub performances which don't pay enough.
It costs more than the nightclub. He's in the nightclubs. We know what they can give you.
Wow. At this point, I feel like 50 was going for the throat and was on a mission to destroy the biggest boss. This was not enough, and he went on to question Rick Ross' expensive lifestyle and wealth status. This is what he said.
What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass?
Hours later, Rick Ross did what fans were expecting, and that was to respond to the jabs that 50 threw. He took to Instagram and clapped back by bragging about his property in an attempt to suggest that 50 is just salty about his wealth. He mentioned the Promised Land, his private jet, and his upcoming 4th annual car show. After throwing some slight shade at Gilly by calling the podcast The Wallow Show, he continued by questioning 50's loyalty to Dr. Dre, who we all know the impact he had on 50's career. Rick Ross was quick to point out that 50 sided with Drake during his infamous lyrical battle with Kendrick, because days after Kendrick's victory, 50 was seen hanging out with the Toronto rap star at a Toronto party.
I thought Dr. Dre put you on.
Rick Ross brought this up because Dr. Dre sided with his fellow artists from West Coast including DJ Mustard, Ty Dolla $ign, YG, Roddy Ricch, Schoolboy Q, Steve Lacy, among others. They backed Kendrick, who performed Not Like Us in California to celebrate Juneteenth. According to Rick Ross, he expected 50 to show his support to Dr. Dre by siding with Kendrick, but instead 50 sided with the Canadian rapper and was busy sharing photos of them hanging out.
I thought you was loyal to Dr. Dre. You mean you went with the Canadian over Dr. Dre?
Rick Ross continued throwing the jabs.
But you did shut the f*** up once the Canadian took the L.
Do you guys think 50 will respond to this loyalty question? I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this. The biggest boss then announced the unexpected and termed it as the Thrilla in Manila 3. He announced that he had the plans to set up a legendary boxing match between former boxing heavyweights Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, which would happen live in his front yard at the Promised Land in Fayetteville.
Once Tyson knock out Jake Paul, I'ma get Tyson and Holyfield a fight in my front yard.
Thrilla in Manila 3, the biggest. He used this term in reference to Muhammad Ali's 1975 rhyming boast, when the greatest announced to the whole world that his fight would be the killer, a thriller, and a chilla, when he gets that gorilla in Manila. Rick Ross continued by saying that he wanted the judges of this legendary fight to be Snoop Dogg, Kevin Hart, and DJ Academics. Let me bring some of y'all to speed. On November 15th, at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, Mike Tyson and renowned YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul will square off in the much-awaited clash. Netflix will stream the fight, which is titled as The Baddest Man on the Planet. Am I the only person thinking, if Tyson doesn't win this match, then a couple of pockets would be full, because it would have been scripted? Just thinking out loud, because the Tyson we know would knock the YouTuber out in seconds. What do you guys think about this fight? Anyway, if Rick Ross is serious about this Tyson-Holyfield battle, then it will most likely happen next year because of the Tyson-Jake Paul fight in November. Rick Ross also posted a picture of Evander Holyfield and captioned it, "Cut the grass so the snakes will show." This was obviously directed at his rival 50, who is yet to respond, but will surely respond because that is what they have been doing. Will there ever be a ceasefire between these two? Anyway, 50 also talked about Eminem in the same podcast and revealed that his first meeting with him felt surreal. He claimed that it felt like the Punk Show on MTV. 50 continued talking about this experience with Eminem, then later went ahead to talk about other things, which included a shocking reveal that he spent $24 million in legal fees in his career. He also revealed that he doesn't have a manager because he doesn't need one, and relies on a general counsel to discuss business moves. Make sure to check out this next video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to be splashed with more celeb juice as it spills. I have been your host, Lucky Jr.